Welcome back. Today you are stepping into a pretty wild, high-stakes world. It is completely defined by heavily armed mercenaries, ruthless corporate espionage, and...
classic muscle cars.
Yes, the rumbling engines of classic muscle cars. We are looking at a stack of sources derived from the first 19 chapters of a thriller novel. It's called Steel Wheels by Tom Fowler.
Right. And just for a bit of context, this is actually the 10th book in the John Tyler action thriller series.
Yeah, but, and this is important, you do not need to have read a single page of the previous 9 books to appreciate what we are doing today.
Not at all.
We are putting these specific chapters under the microscope. We're studying them as a masterclass in narrative construction.
Which is the core mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We are not here to simply recount a plot or give you a basic book review.
Right, no one wants just a summary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to dissect the anatomy of a modern thriller. The goal is to really understand the mechanics under the hood. Like, how does an author balance kinetic, explosive action sequences with deeply nuanced moral ambiguity? What are the specific psychological triggers being pulled when a writer uses pacing, misdirection, and inherently flawed characters to keep you turning the page, to make you completely unable to put the book down?
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to begin by establishing our protagonist, John Tyler. Paint a picture in your mind of a guy who navigates the world in a really loud, aggressive 1972 Oldsmobile 442.
Oh, yeah.
He works as a classic car mechanic, covered in grease, living this seemingly quiet life. But beneath that exterior, he is a retired Army Green Beret with 4 grueling combat deployments on his record.
4 deployments. That's a lot of trauma and tactical experience packed into one guy.
It really is. And what fascinated me in these opening chapters is how deliberately mundane the inciting incident is.
Yeah.
Tyler is actively bailing on a cherished pizza night with his college-age daughter, Lexi.
Right.
And he's doing it simply because he agreed to do a favor for his old Army buddy, Charlie Prescott. He is going over to dog sit.
And the author provides a very specific detail about this dog, which I love. It is a hyperactive, 60-pound, 10-month-old black lab named Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Yes. It serves as this brilliant grounding mechanism. You have this hardened, lethal combat veteran apologizing to his daughter so he can go get physically tackled by an overly enthusiastic puppy.
It humanizes him instantly, before any of the chaos starts.
Exactly. So Tyler drives out to Charlie's property, and the architectural geography of this setting is crucial to the tension that follows. Charlie resides in a sprawling, opulent brick mansion situated in Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
A huge place.
Massive. The author emphasizes the classical chime doorbell, the heavy, imposing black iron fencing encircling the driveway. It projects this aura of being completely impenetrable. It's a modern fortress built on wealth and high-end security.
But that fortress illusion is shattered so quickly. While Tyler is inside the house dealing with the very relatable frustration of trying to operate a needlessly complicated high-end coffee maker.
We've all been there.
Right. He's trying to make coffee, he's letting Jupiter out in the yard, and meanwhile, a 4-man mercenary squad is methodically creeping through the surrounding woods. And they are carrying a piece of tech called a haywire grenade.
The introduction of the haywire grenade is a perfect example of updating the thriller genre for the modern era. In the real world, this would function similarly to a localized EMP, or electromagnetic pulse.
Mm-hmm.
When the mercenaries detonate this device, there is no massive Hollywood explosion. There is just a faint, almost imperceptible hum. But the resulting wave instantly fries the home's sophisticated alarm system.
Just totally bricks it.
Yep. Disables all the electronic biometric locks and completely jams the cellular signals.
Think about that minor spike of panic you feel in your own home when your Wi-Fi randomly drops for 10 minutes.
Oh, the one.
Now amplify that to a total technological blackout. Tyler is completely cut off from the outside world. He cannot call 911. He is on an island.
And this leads directly into the stairwell shootout, which is constructed with incredible tactical realism.
Tyler realizes something is profoundly wrong, but he doesn't panic. He calmly stashes Jupiter the dog safely in an upstairs walk-in closet.
Priorities. Save the dog first.
Always save the dog. Then he moves to Charlie's secure gun cabinet. He retrieves a Remington pump-action shotgun alongside an M9 pistol, and he simply waits. He weaponizes the architectural layout of the house.
He positions himself flat on the floor of the second-floor landing, cloaked in darkness.
Yeah, and it's a textbook tactical advantage, right?
It is. It's known as a fatal funnel. The mercenaries are forced to ascend a narrow, restrictive staircase one by one into an unknown environment. Thrillers operate so effectively because they manipulate our primal, deep-seated fear of home invasion.
Oh, absolutely.
They take the one place where you are supposed to feel the ultimate sense of safety, your home, and twist it into a claustrophobic, inescapable battleground.
And the mechanics of the shootout itself are a far cry from the guns-blazing action heroes in the 1980s. Tyler eliminates the first attacker with the shotgun. Then, he seamlessly scrambles forward, secures the dead mercenaries' suppressed MP5 submachine gun.
He flips the selector switch to its 3-round burst mode.
Yes, and proceeds to use the attacker's own high-end weaponry against the remaining squad members. He systematically and brutally eliminates all 4 men.
That detail of the 3-round burst is what elevates the scene for me. It demonstrates Tyler's ingrained military discipline. In close-quarters combat, flipping a submachine gun to fully automatic is a great way to lose control of the recoil, waste your ammunition, and miss your target entirely.
It's sloppy.
Very sloppy. The 3-round burst ensures maximum lethality with calculated precision. He relies on patience, a survival skill honed over years in active war zones. He basically allows the enemy's momentum to become their downfall.
Which brings us to the fascinating aftermath of this violence. The Prince George's County Police eventually secure the scene. You have this cast of detectives, Sergeant Mullins, Detective Santander, and a highly abrasive Lieutenant Henderson.
Henderson is intense.
Very. And Tyler is just sitting casually on a blood-soaked, undoubtedly expensive leather couch. The police handcuff him. And Tyler is completely unfazed by the metal around his wrist.
Not even a flinch.
He absolutely refuses to spoon-feed the detectives a neat, wrapped-up narrative of what just occurred. He even coldly points out that by neutralizing this heavily armed hit squad, he effectively saved the lives of the first responding patrol officer.
Because they would have walked into a total slaughter.
Exactly.
His physiological baseline in that scene is chilling. He's a man sitting at the epicenter of a quadruple homicide, displaying the heart rate of someone waiting in line at the grocery store.
He stonewalls the police and demands legal counsel, and his daughter Lexi manages to secure a formidable, high-priced defense attorney named Liz Fleming.
Oh, this is great.
Her arrival changes the entire temperature of the room. She strides into the interrogation room in 4-inch heels, systematically dismantles the detective's legal footing, and secures Tyler's immediate release.
She just steamrolls them.
Totally. Later, she presents Tyler with an astronomical retainer fee, which he accepts without hesitation because she frankly tells him she is worth every penny.
And she proved it.
She really did. But looking at Tyler's actions, I have to ask, at what point does the reader start to question his morality? I mean, he executes 4 men without a second thought. Is he actually a hero here, or are we just cheering for a highly efficient killer?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we're looking at is the enduring appeal of the reluctant anti-hero. Tyler is not a sworn police officer. He is not an active, sanctioned intelligence agent.
Right.
He is a private citizen who operates outside the bounds of traditional oversight. The reason audiences gravitate toward these characters involves the concept of the social contract. Well, in our daily lives, we agree to outsource our protection and our vengeance to the state, the police, the courts, the justice system. But we all harbor this lingering anxiety that when push comes to shove, the system is too slow, too bureaucratic, or too corrupt to protect us from immediate evil.
That makes a lot of sense.
Tyler represents the cathartic fantasy of what happens when the social contract is bypassed entirely.
His backstory really informs that rigid internal code, too. His military career essentially ended because he chose to report his own commanding officer for committing war crimes.
He doesn't compromise.
He doesn't. He has a history of engaging cartels and corrupt politicians. He sees the world in absolute, unforgiving terms.
He operates as an instrument of lethal pragmatism. When a threat is immediate, Tyler becomes judge, jury, and executioner. He does not suffer moral injury from taking a life because to him, the math is simple. Kill or be killed. It is raw survival.
That black and white moral certainty provides an incredible thematic bridge to what his daughter is experiencing at the exact same time.
The B-plot.
Right. While Tyler is operating under this lethal code in a mansion, his daughter Lexi, who is a college student majoring in criminal justice, by the way, is navigating the real world. She is simply trying to purchase a cup of coffee at a local 7-Eleven when an armed man enters and demands cash from the registers.
And we immediately witness how her father's tactical mindset has influenced her behavior.
She absolutely does not freeze. She ducks behind a store end cap, assesses the situation, and notices the gunman is momentarily distracted, demanding a sandwich from the terrified clerk.
Over a sandwich.
I know. Lexi uses that microsecond of distraction to slip quietly out the front doors. But she does not blindly sprint into the night. She dials 911 and strategically positions herself around the corner of the building.
She establishes a sightline on the exit so she can monitor the gunman's movements without exposing herself.
She even mentally catalogs her kickboxing training. She's preparing to engage in physical combat if her perimeter is breached. It is a tactical retreat, not a panic response.
Following the incident, Lexi goes to the police precinct to finalize her statement. The detectives ask her to view a suspect lineup, and she flawlessly identifies the perpetrator.
But the narrative subverts the expected emotional payoff here.
Complete.
Instead of feeling the triumphant rush of a hero who aided law enforcement, Lexi overhears a conversation between the arresting officers. They casually mention that the suspect is a 3-time loser.
Because of the state's mandatory minimum 3 strikes laws.
Right. This armed robbery, which netted him $40 and a sandwich, will likely result in a life sentence in a maximum security prison.
This raises an important question, and it truly forms the philosophical backbone of these chapters. The author is demanding that you, the reader, confront the stark juxtaposition between Lexi's reality and her father's.
It's a heavy contrast.
Look at the math. John Tyler utilizes a shotgun and an assault rifle to brutally terminate 4 human lives, and he walks out the front doors of the police station a free man, because society legally and morally categorizes his actions as justifiable self-defense.
Lexi, conversely, does everything right.
Exactly. She engages perfectly with the civilized official justice system. Yet, her participation in that system leaves her feeling profoundly ethically compromised.
It forces a hard look at the nature of justice itself.
It does. It asks us to examine when the law is truly just versus when it is merely punitive. Why do we consume fiction where we actively applaud the violent extrajudicial vigilante, but when confronted with the crushing bureaucratic reality of the actual penal system, we feel a sense of moral nausea?
That's a great point.
The thriller genre allows us to safely explore these hypocrisies. Lexi is left carrying the heavy psychological burden of knowing a man's life is effectively over because of her testimony, while her father sleeps soundly after a quadruple homicide.
And while Lexi is wrestling with the philosophy of the law, Tyler is actively trying to unravel the logistics of the hit. Everyone involved, Tyler, the homicide detectives, and even Charlie himself, operates under the logical assumption that Charlie was the primary target.
Which makes sense on paper.
It does. He's a former Green Beret. He currently holds a vice president title at a defense contractor named Defense Systems Incorporated. Given the paramilitary nature of the attack, it aligns perfectly.
It aligns so perfectly that it functions as a masterfully constructed red herring.
Tyler leverages his network. He reaches out to a clandestine CIA contact known as Flanker and his ex-girlfriend Sarah Morrison, who holds significant clearance at the Pentagon.
They pull the threads on Charlie's corporate background.
And the reality is shockingly mundane. Defense Systems Incorporated is not running black ops in foreign nations. They primarily handle highly complex but incredibly boring IT infrastructure and tech support.
So the realization hits. If a 4-man mercenary squad was not sent for Charlie,
the only remaining variable in the equation is his wife, Adrienne.
And Adrienne's professional profile is where the modern thriller truly reveals its updated anxieties. She is a consulting geologist and serves part-time as a Maryland state legislator.
The genre has largely evolved past the geopolitical anxieties of Cold War spies and Soviet defectors. The modern boogeyman is unchecked corporate greed and resource monopolization.
Without taking any political sides here, this is just a fascinating narrative shift. Adrienne's legislative work involves actively blocking massive state mining contracts for rare earth minerals.
These are the highly coveted finite materials required to manufacture everything from smartphones to advanced computer microchips.
She is the single legislative roadblock preventing a multi-billion-dollar payday for a monolithic corporation known as Vanguard Earth Industries, or VEI.
The CEO, Donovan Cross, is a portrait of boardroom ruthlessness, but the character actually orchestrating the violence on the ground is VEI's head of security, a man named Brick.
Brick.
The psychology of Brick is fascinating to me.
He represents a very specific and highly volatile archetype of the secondary antagonist.
He is supposed to be this intimidating, calculated mastermind pulling the strings. Instead, the author paints him as deeply, almost pathetically insecure.
Yeah, he's constantly dropping to the floor in his office to grind out hundreds of push-ups.
He is actively injecting steroids. He is a mountain of overcompensation, sweating and panicking while being verbally eviscerated over the phone by his CEO because the initial strike team failed their objective.
An insecure antagonist is exponentially more dangerous than a confident one.
Why is that?
Because a confident villain calculates risk. Brick is driven by a desperate need to prove his worth to his corporate master. That desperation makes him erratic, reckless, and prone to extreme measures. He immediately bypasses standard protocols and begins organizing a second, more aggressive strike team.
This triggers a massive escalation in the narrative pacing. Charlie and Adrienne, reeling from the trauma of the first attack, make the logical decision to abandon their compromised, bullet-riddled mansion.
They secure a secluded, short-term rental property, essentially a high-end Airbnb.
It is a quiet house surrounded by a large open yard. They believe they are outsmarting the people hunting them. Charlie even takes the precaution of installing several temporary adhesive-bagged security cameras around the perimeter of the property. They wrap themselves in a false sense of security.
The tragic irony is that their operational security was breached long before they ever packed their bags.
The author reveals the depth of VEI's resources here. Brick's intelligence apparatus had previously planted an operative inside the independent cleaning crew that serviced the Prescott's primary residence.
That is terrifying.
This spy had successfully planted audio bugs throughout the house, allowing Brick to listen in real time as Charlie and Adrienne formulated their escape plan. Furthermore, the spy attached a magnetized GPS tracker to the undercarriage of their SUV.
Charlie's evasive driving was entirely pointless.
Completely. Brick tracks their digital breadcrumbs directly to the rental house.
And this time, Brick refuses to delegate. He personally commands the second strike team. They arrive equipped with signal scanners that easily detect and permanently disable the wireless frequencies of Charlie's temporary cameras.
They dismantle the perimeter security without making a sound.
The resulting assault is shockingly brutal and intimate. Charlie and Adrienne are seeking a fleeting moment of normalcy, sitting together on the back patio next to a fire pit.
Without warning, a swarm of masked mercenaries descends upon them. They physically rip Charlie out of his specialized wheelchair and hurl him onto the hard stone patio.
They subject him to a severe physical beating.
But the true cruelty lies in what happens next. One of the mercenaries takes Charlie's highly customized electric wheelchair and systematically smashes it into useless pieces of metal and plastic.
That is not collateral damage. It is a calculated act of psychological warfare. By destroying the chair, they're entirely stripping away Charlie's mobility and autonomy. They are reducing a highly trained combat veteran to absolute physical helplessness before they take his wife.
The mercenaries throw Adrienne over a shoulder and carry her off into the darkness. But before Brick retreats, he stands over the bleeding, broken body of Charlie.
This part is so tough to read.
It is. He looks down, notes the Superman logo on the hoodie Charlie is wearing, and delivers a devastatingly cruel taunt. He looks at the paralyzed veteran and calls him the man of steel wheels.
It is a gut-wrenching moment of total antagonist dominance. Charlie is left battered on the cold patio, his physical agency destroyed, forced to watch the woman he loves vanish into the night.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Charlie manages to drag himself to a phone and calls Tyler to the scene. Tyler arrives to find his friend physically wrecked. But Charlie's escalating panic has nothing to do with his own fractured ribs or the destroyed wheelchair.
This is the moment the author introduces the ultimate, inescapable mechanic of the thriller genre.
The ticking clock.
The ticking clock.
Adrienne is a type 1 diabetic.
This revelation completely fundamentally alters the trajectory and the stakes of the rescue mission. VEI did not just kidnap a state legislator. They abducted a woman entirely dependent on external medical supplies, which she does not have on her person.
Charlie explains to Tyler that Adrienne's current insulin pump only has enough capacity for a single day.
1 day.
24 hours.
This is a brilliant structural choice by the author. A traditional bomb timer with glowing red numbers is a cliché, but weaponizing a character's own biology, that is terrifying.
It really is.
After 24 hours, the mercenaries at VEI do not need to utilize physical violence or psychological torture to break her. They simply have to sit back and allow her biological clock to fail.
They can withhold the life-saving insulin to extort her into signing away the geological contracts.
And once they secure the rare earth minerals, they can simply let her slip into a diabetic coma and die.
It is a dark, ingenious narrative engine. Tyler and Charlie do not have the luxury of allowing the police bureaucracy to slowly canvass the area.
They cannot spend weeks methodically hunting down corporate cell companies.
They have hours before Adrian's own body becomes the murder weapon. It forces our characters into immediate, desperate, hyper-violent action.
It removes all options for a diplomatic or legal resolution, firmly locking the reader into the high-speed velocity of the remaining chapters.
So, to quickly encapsulate the intense ground we just covered in this deep dive, we began with a mundane, disrupted pizza night. We analyzed the tactical geometry of a quadruple homicide inside a fortified mansion.
We navigated a thematic minefield, contrasting legally sanctioned lethality against the crushing weight of the judicial penal system.
We unraveled a corporate conspiracy driven by the modern greed for rare earth minerals.
And we culminated in a desperate, biologically driven ticking clock rescue mission.
It is a masterfully constructed narrative machine.
Ultimately, thrillers like Steel Wheels endure in our cultural landscape because they function as a controlled sandbox. They provide us with a safe, confined environment to process our very real, everyday anxieties.
We worry about the fragility of our home security.
We harbor deep concerns about whether the justice system is actually fair, as we explored with Lexi. And above all, we harbor a profound terror regarding the physical vulnerability of the people we love.
A well-crafted thriller takes those universal quiet fears, amplifies them into a high-stakes scenario, and offers us the cathartic hope that, against all odds, the innocent will be saved and the corrupt will be punished.
It provides order to an inherently chaotic world.
And before we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final provocative thought to mull over regarding these sources. Consider the pervasive role of technology and how it shapes vulnerability. Charlie's multi-million-dollar high-tech home security system, the military-grade haywire grenades utilized to jam cellular lifelines, the microscopic GPS tracker hidden beneath a vehicle, and finally, the sophisticated insulin pump that is quite literally keeping Adrian alive.
Every single piece of technology in this narrative that was originally engineered to preserve life, provide comfort, or offer an illusion of security
is ultimately weaponized by the enemy. Take a moment to look around your own environment today and ask yourself, how much of the technology currently keeping you safe could be turned against you in an absolute instant?
A sobering but vital question to end on.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the mechanics of the thriller. We will be back next time to unpack another fascinating stack of sources. Stay sharp out there and maybe double check your undercarriage for trackers. Catch you next time.